Let's talk about delegating tasks and how to do that comfortably. One of the things that I notice a lot of times in our restaurants is that, we have leads, we have managers, front of the house, kitchen managers and what have you. And one of the things that I notice is that they are not comfortable delegating different tasks to different team members. Now, they won't come back and tell you that they're not comfortable. It's sometimes hard for me to realize why they can't get, for example, we have drivers walking around. How can you tell a driver, say, hey, John, may I ask you to get on dishes a little bit, hypothetically, right? Hey, get a load done, or hey, can you bring the wires over here? Can you empty the trash? Please go take care of that customer and what have you. And sometimes I feel like our managers or our leads take on the task themselves because they're not able to delegate that task and or ask another team member comfortably to go and do a task. So today I want to share with you why I feel very comfortable delegating different tasks to different people and how you can also be very comfortable asking people to do different things and what is the right approach to it. So today I have 3 very practical tips for you, because if it's not practical, what is it, right? This is not theory. This is practical tips and how you can delegate comfortably, especially if you're a manager in a position like in a restaurant. So the first tip that I have for you when it comes to delegating as a manager or someone in a leadership position is help them help the team and customers. The way you need to look at it is that how can you help this person who's here, hypothetically a driver who's just walking around and not producing and not serving this team right now because they're walking around and they're not carrying a piece of the load. How can you help them help the team? This is not about you as the manager. You're not asking them to do anything for you, right? When I'm, for example, I walk around as a restaurant owner, I'm not telling people to do stuff for me. I am asking people to do things because I am helping the team. I'm helping this driver because he clearly doesn't know what needs to be done at this moment. I am helping them help the rest of the team and ultimately helping the customer. So when you have that approach in mind, you are going to be way more comfortable asking people to help the rest of the team, because you as the manager have observed an opportunity to help the team and lower the burden, lower the load. Because as you know, everybody wants to be helpful. Now, hypothetically, there is loads of dishes to be done and the dish pit is madness and nobody's getting on dish. I can go to the dish station, start putting a load in and ask John and say, hey, John, can you help me out with dish? When you're asking people to help, you need to know by default, people want to be helpful. So when I'm asking them, hey, come help me out on dish a little bit, I'm asking them for help. Usually people are going to be okay with helping because everybody wants to be helpful. If not, they certainly don't belong to this team. So let's make that clear, because this team, people want to work together to help the team and ultimately, again, the customer. So make it easy for your team to help one another. So you're ultimately just facilitating that. As a manager, you are directing them to serve the team and help the team. The next tip that I have for you when it comes to delegating comfortably as a manager is to ask questions. A lot of times you feel like you need to be telling people what to do all the time, but rather let's replace it with asking a lot of questions. You simply asking your team members, and that's how you are directing them to action. You are helping them think. One of the questions I always like to ask is, hey, John, when do you go home today? And they may tell me 8 o'clock. So they're not there to close, right? I tell them, how can you help the closing team right now? And I wait for them to give me an answer because, again, I go based on this notion that everybody wants to help other people in this team, or they better not be here, and they themselves don't know what to do. So I'm asking them to think. I'm asking them to look around, because one of the things we need to do as leaders is train up people to think. So when I'm asking them, hey, how can you help the closing team right now? What can you do? So they look around and say, hey, I can sweep over there. I can sanitize that table. I can take the trash out. Great. Thank you so much. Thank you for helping the team. Or you can always ask, hey, John, what else can you help with? What can you help with right now? That is a question to ask. You have people walking around. Clearly, they're not helping the team. So you can ask them, what can you help with right now? And wait and pause for them to tell you how they can help. The last tip I have for you, but not least, is to be courteous. I have noticed that when you are respectful in a way that you treat other people, they tend to be respectful back. Now, that is when it comes to customer service as well as leading a team. So be the kind of a manager that is courteous. When you're asking people nicely, not like, hey, would you please? No, when you're like, hey, John, would you please help with dishes? And they're going to say, yes, thank you so much. Can I have 2 calzones? Can I have this? Thank you. Saying a lot of thank yous, saying pleases. And if you screw up, for sure, I'm so sorry about that. Sometimes I have found myself, being loud in the kitchen sometimes, and I'm quick to apologize after the rush and say, I'm so sorry. I was so stressed. That's why I got loud. It has nothing to do with you. I was loud. And be quick to say sorry. We need to lead by example. And if I want the team to be courteous and professional in the way they carry themselves, I treat them as such, as professionals. I expect them to want to help this team. And I use a lot of courteous words because I expect them to do the same when they talk to their peers and or our customers and to me as their boss. All right, folks, thank you so much for tuning into another episode of Making Dough Show, where we like talking about making dough in the restaurant business, the good, the bad, and the ugly. If you have not subscribed to the show on YouTube and or any of the podcast platforms, please be sure to do that. If you can leave us a review on any of the podcasts, iTunes on them, it would mean the world. Let me know your thoughts on this episode. If you have any questions you would like me to cover when it comes to management, marketing, and what have you, anything in the between, I would love to hear your thoughts. Send me an email to makingdoughshow at gmail.com. I would love to hear your thoughts on this or any other episode of what's going on in the restaurant industry. And with that, let's get back to work and make some dough. Thank you. Bye.